off your engine!
Here's an interesting tidbit you may not realize, but Honda has killed the Honda Civic sedan in Japan for the second time. They did it before. And it's not for the reasons you might think, right? The Honda Civics, the little cars. In Japan, the Honda Civic is seen as a big car. They sell all these micro cars, right? And it's seen as a big car. We're in America, we see it as a little car. In Japan and in Asia, they see it as a gigantic car. Of course, they sell like mad in the United States, the Civics. People love them. The kids love souping them up and racing them around. But they're cutting them out in Japan now. Now, 10 years ago, they cut it out again. But then they decided to bring it back again when it came out with the new Civic design to see what happens. But they're giving up in Japan. I guess cars just too big for them. Here people don't buy them because they think they're too small. Now they're still going to have the Civic hatchback and of course the Type R, the little racing one, because hey, it's a very fast car. A lot of Japanese like driving real fast and have a lot of money. They're still selling them, but they're not going to be selling the Civic sedan in Japan anymore. Now it's no big deal to the Japanese because the last financial year that Honda had in Japan, they only sold 1,619 of these things. So they're not selling many of them. They figure, why the heck, why even bother? You know, they sell tons of them here in the United States, but they're cutting them out. You couldn't buy a Civic sedan, the new one in Japan, if you wanted to in the future, because they're not going to be selling them there. But you can get a hatchback or a Type R, so it's not like you can't get one at all. It turns out that people that are making reservations for that Ford Mustang E, which is really an electric SUV, has nothing to do with Mustang, are reporting that the Ford dealers, some of them are gouging as much as $15,000 over the list price if they want to get a reservation for one. Hey, we have again greed to the forefront. They have something that they think's popular, so they're going to charge as much as they possibly can. Now, this isn't Ford Motor Company. This is the dealers. And Ford Motor Company's response to this was, well, the price that is sold for is a deal between the consumer and the individual dealer, and they can come to an agreement, you know. In other words, the dealers are ripping people off because they can, because it's a popular new thing. They better watch out what they're doing if you ask me, because the electric vehicles, this is going to be the first electric vehicle Ford sells. They haven't actually made any yet. They're not out in the market yet. When they are out and people are driving them, I guarantee you they're going to have problems. You can't make a new vehicle, put it out there and not have problems. Look at the problems Tesla had, and they've been doing it for years. They're still having some problems. Ford's never made an all-electric car. Gouging everybody because it's popular. Yeah, I see that all the time. Somebody comes out with a new popular one, then they charge more and more money because they can get away with it. But hey, maybe karma will bite them in the rear end. They'll have a whole bunch of problems with them, and then people will really be mad, and then they won't sell any of them. Yeah, you can make a reservation for something, but let's say you change your mind. You can cancel your reservation, right? That crazy guy was making the Elio, this three-wheel car, and he never produced a single one other than a few mock-ups, and he claimed he had tens of thousands of people who's reserved them. Well, I doubt if any of them is ever going to get a vehicle. It looks like the guy's never going to make a car. Reservations in reality, hey, it might bite you in the rear end if you get too greedy there, Ford. Coach Moreno says, I got a 97 4Runner. White smoke just started coming out of the tailpipe, and I got oil in the water. Help. All right. Well, that's kind of a design flaw, those. You got the V6 engine at 97. It's actually covered for blown head gaskets by the Toyota dealer. They fixed them free. Now, it's so old, they might not fix it free anymore. They used to give you a free head gasket job on it. It was a design flaw, those V6 engines. But then again, it's a 97. You know, it's what, 23 years old, 24 years old now. It lasted quite some time, but you're going to have to replace the head gasket if you want to spend that kind of money. And it's not a cheap job on a V6 Toyota engine. But that's the problem. If you want to try like Barr's sealer for sealing blown head gaskets, sometimes that can last a little bit of while, but if you want to do it right, you're going to have to put a head gasket in. But do contact Toyota. I had a bunch of people get free ones put in at the Toyota dealer, but like you say, it's so old now, they might say it's too old. I don't know. Check it. Tell them Scotty sent you. Maybe you'll get a free head gasket. That one woman, hey, when one of the dealers ripped her off for 12 grand extra on the car, they refused to give her the money back, saying she signed a contract. Well, guess what happened? I made a video on it. The next day she goes to the dealer, they give her a $12,000 check, so you never know. Mystic Ben 24 says, hey, my friend really loves her '07 Nissan Murano, but she said, will Nissan cover the warranty for the transmission if it goes out? It's 114,000 miles. No, I doubt that they will. They're terrible transmissions. They're generally not going to fix anything that's old, 13 years old, 114,000 miles. And they are horrible CVT transmissions. But overall, those Muranos are horrible vehicles. She may love it because she likes the way it looks. And they ride okay for a medium-sized SUV. But basically, they're junk. I saw one the other day when I was having some pho in a Vietnamese restaurant, and the woman's backing out. She goes down the road, and her front axle just snapped right off in the parking lot. So I went and said, she said, oh, what's wrong? I said, lady, your axle snapped off. You're going to have to tow it to a garage, and you're going to have to have it replaced. It's going to be expensive. But that's just how poorly made those things are. Tell her the car's worth nothing. I wouldn't put any money into it. I would just get rid of it. And if it still runs, drive until the wheels fall off, then get a Toyota. Because if she tries selling it, she's going to get nothing for it. That old with that mileage, it's worth nothing anyways. Art 58 says, I have sour smelling air conditioning since I moved. Realize that mold and bacteria like two things. They like being in the dark, and they like it where it's moist. That's what happens inside your dash, where the AC evaporator is that blows the cold air in your face. And wherever you moved, obviously that stuff is growing better. And it multiplies fast. Mold and bacteria, man, they can go from one to millions of them in a few hours. So you can watch some of my videos, how to get rid of AC smell in your car. You can get a Lysol can, spray it if you're allergic to that. There's many other cleaners. You can even use ultrasonic cleaners. You can even use ozone generators. That does kill it because it kills things that are alive, so that can kill it too. But you're going to have to do it at least once a month if it builds up, because you can't kill it all and then it comes right back. The Lysol is actually pretty good if you're not allergic to stuff, spraying it all in and letting it sit for overnight and then opening windows and airing it out. That's pretty good at killing mold and bacteria, and that's what's growing inside your dash. Now, you could physically take it apart and clean it out, but some cars, that's a 10-hour job tearing the dash apart, so try the spray first. Lefty Leadfoot says, I own a 2017 Subaru Forester with a CVT. Car's 12,000 miles, 7,000 miles I started jerking. The dealership replaced the accelerator. 11,000 miles did the same thing. They had it for 3 weeks and replaced the transmission control module. They were covered under warranty. And now I don't think it's fixed. It doesn't smooth accelerating 20 to 40 miles an hour. They say this is normal. Is this true? And it's from one of those piece of crap Subarus, they don't make very good transmissions. Their CVT transmissions are not that good. Their regular ones are bad, and those aren't that good either. Now, I'm assuming they're going to improve them over time, but that's a 4-year-old one. I rented one of those things when we went to Utah and Arizona to look at all the beautiful desert. And the one we had, I don't know, had 3,500 miles on it. It was the same vehicle with the CVT transmission, and it was a piece of crap as far as I was concerned with 3,500 miles on it. They just are not made that well. I'd never buy one. That's a big reason I tell people don't buy those. If you want to get a Subaru, get a standard transmission. You control the shift, and those things are pretty bulletproof. They're really well made. I got a customer that's got 250,000 miles on his with a 4-cylinder engine. It's really well-made vehicle, but their automatics and their CVTs, and you're just stuck with it. You bought it, you're stuck with it. My advice is just live with it as long as it gets you down the road, and never, ever buy another automatic or CVT transmission Subaru. Probably don't buy any of them. Just buy a Toyota next time. David Master D says, Scotty, I made a terrible mistake of purchasing and installing low-quality motor mounts on my '02 Camry. Now it causes it to shake. What can I do? I'm thinking of adjusting the accelerator pedal to avoid it. Would I have any problems? All right, well, they're not made to adjust the idle speed manually. It's all done by computer. You could actually, mess with the nuts and bolts on the cable of it to try to make it idle faster, but that's going to change the position of your throttle position sensor, and it's going to end up turning your check engine light on. You did make a big mistake. Now, don't think you were just an absolute idiot, because I tried that in the past to save my customers money. I tried buying these aftermarket mounts that are made in China or wherever, Singapore, I don't know, they make them all over the world. A lot of times they are crap. They aren't made right. They do shake. You're better paying extra money for the best ones. That's just how it is. It's a lot of work changing motor mounts on that car. It's got 4 of them. And if you put in the wrong ones, it's going to shake forever unless you put the right ones in. It's not going to hurt anything. The car will run perfectly fine, but it's always going to shake because they're cheaply made. They weren't designed. That's supposed to take the resonance of the engine vibration. They're designed by what? Engineers. And these guys that copy them are designed by copycat guys who don't know what the heck they're doing. You know, probably just live with it or do the job over. It's not going to hurt anything, you know. Maybe if you don't like it sometimes, shift the car in neutral, it'll stop shaking, or put your foot on the gas when it's shaking too much. Because if you do turn the screws and adjust it, the check engine light's going to come on.
So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.